One-day internationals, better known as ODIs, are a 50-over format of cricket that were once the epitome of exciting cricket throughout the 80s and 90s. However, since then, they have dropped to levels of disinterest which many would not have expected given its rich beginnings as a cricket format. Today, we will explore how and why cricket fans have lost interest in ODIs. The concept of ODIs were brought about by a man named Kerry Packer in the early 1970s to present an alternative to Test cricket to cricket fans. The first ODI was played between Australia and England in 1971 in a somewhat unplanned manner. The first 3 days of the Test match that was planned to be played were completely washed out, and both sides realised that a result would surely not be possible given the circumstances. Thus, it was agreed to play a 40-over per side game, which would symbolise the start of an expansion into limited overs cricket internationally. In the 1980s and 1990s, ODIs were by far and wide the most exciting and most talked about format of cricket, with fans packing stadiums and games often close. Many memorable moments came about from ODIs in the 90s, ranging from last ball thrillers to unbelievable individual performances, alongside multiple infamous moments ranging from wild pitches to, you guessed it, last ball strategies. Underarms. Nonetheless, the fans loved the strategic, fast-paced nature of the ODIs, as the ODIs gave them an alternative to Test cricket. At the time, no such alternative had ever been produced, so the fans welcomed the concept of ODIs with open arms. Limited overs cricket was thriving at this point. Big crowds, high-quality cricket, and an overall enjoyable, watchable feel to the format. So why are they so bad today? Put simply, a combination of shocking scheduling and poor advertising mixed with fans much preferring either Test cricket or the more or less slogfest T20s has led to a lack of interest from cricket fans in ODIs. Some genuinely strange fixtures were played out throughout the 2022 season. Come on. A 3-match ODI series was played between Australia and Zimbabwe in August. Come on. How do Cricket Australia and the ICC expect crowds to rock up to the cricket A in the middle of winter and B in the best part of both the AFL and NRL seasons? In addition to this, all 3 games were played in Cairns, which is a truly strange decision. Obviously the crowds were terrible bar the first game, which presumably everyone went to and then completely lost interest after watching a slow, boring game with no atmosphere whatsoever. As well as this, it seems as though fans would prefer Test cricket or potentially T20s, although not the BBL, see my previous video, rather than watch an ODI, which doesn't really have much going for it. Tests and T20s both have unique perks not seen in ODIs. Tests are a true test of a cricketer's character, being played for as long as 5 days, and T20s are a fast-paced slogfest which make for interesting viewing. Put simply, there isn't any reason for crowds to go to ODI, and most would prefer to watch it at home rather than sit in empty stands with no atmosphere whatsoever. The MCG has recently seen crowds for the Australia vs England ODI series drop as low as 10,000, which is unbelievable considering this is arguably cricket's greatest rivalry. So how can we make people more interested in ODIs? Seriously, it's not rocket science. Scheduling ODIs directly before or after a big Test series would draw way more people than a series played in front of no one in the middle of footy season. More ODIs in December and January instead of August and September would almost certainly draw bigger crowds and boost interest from cricket fans. In addition to this, ODIs must be advertised much better than they have been. This would allow people time to plan to go to games and to make these ODIs a big event as they once were. Overall, it would be great to see crowds return to ODIs in Australia, creating a vibrant, inclusive atmosphere that draws big crowds to games with incredible atmospheres.